Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walahu amma ba'd. قال الله تعالى قد أفلح المؤمنون. Verily, as Allah Ta'ala has said, the believers are successful. الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون. They're the ones who are humble, submissive in their prayers. They have khushu' in their prayers, servitude, an approach of humility, submissiveness to Allah Ta'ala, their Lord and Creator. Every Muslim strives and struggles with his salat to make his salat dedicated, to make himself humble in front of Allah Ta'ala. And this is not an easy task, as we have been occupied with so many things in this life. We have become busy with jobs and with families and with various tasks. And we have this opportunity to meet with Allah Ta'ala 5 times a day as an obligation, and many more times, as much as we want, as optional prayers. We have this connection with Allah Ta'ala directly, no intermediaries. We have a chance to turn to Allah Ta'ala and worship Him as He has commanded, and to perform our duty of making salat, prayer, formal prayer, to Him throughout the day and the night, that which will be the very first thing that mankind will be asked about, or that the believers will be asked about on the Day of Judgment. إِنَّ أَوَّلُ مَا يُحَاسَبُ بِهِ الْمُؤْمِنُ صَلَاتُهُ. Verily, the first thing that a believer is going to be asked about is his salat. فَإِنْ صَلُحَتْ صَلُحَ سَائِرُ عَمَلِهِ. And if it is upright and correct, sound, done well, then all of the rest of his actions will be sound and complete. وَإِنْ فَسَدَتْ فَسَدَ سَائِرُ عَمَلِهِ. If it's corrupt, if it's deficient, if it's unacceptable to Allah Ta'ala, then it will be that the rest of his deeds will be like that on the Day of Judgment. So then the person, the Muslim who cares about his salat and takes care of his salat, he's getting his priorities together in life. He's identifying his purpose, and he's putting focus on that which Allah Ta'ala has asked him to put focus on through the message of his messenger, Muhammad. May Allah raise his rank and grant him peace. So we wanted to take a few glimpses at some things that will aid us in our khushu', in our submissiveness and humility in our prayers, so that we approach Allah Ta'ala with our salat in a way that is befitting, or that we begin to come close to that, or we begin to shun some of the heedlessness, the distractions, the things in our salat which take away from the value of our salat, sometimes the acceptability of our salat, and sometimes the reward of our salat. We ask Allah Ta'ala to aid us, to give us assistance from Himself in accomplishing this great task. As we are commanded to seek His help, we must seek His help. Allah Ta'ala tells us even in Surah Al-Fatiha that we say, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. We worship You alone, or You alone are the object of our worship. وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. And You alone are the one from whom we seek help. So we must seek Allah Ta'ala's help if we are going to be ubaduhu, if we're going to be the ones who worship Him. Now, having said that, one of the most important ways that a Muslim can increase his humility, his khushu', his submissiveness in his salat is that Firstly, he understands the affair of Salat. That Salat is formal worship of Allah Almighty. And this can tie into the very first phrase that you say in your Salat. The very first thing that you utter when you begin to pray. Any obligatory or supererogatory optional act of prayer. And what's that statement? It is Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. And first of all, you pronounce it correctly. You don't say Allahu Akbar, extending that A sound, the last A sound. You don't say, again, Allahu Akbar, because this has a corrupt meaning. This means basically something very unbefitting to Allah Ta'ala, because you have changed the word Akbar into Akbar, and you have made it a plural noun. And it's the very opposite of what you intend to do. You intend to worship Allah, your one and only creator and object of worship. And now you describe him with a plural description. We ask Allah Ta'ala to excuse us. So you say Allahu Akbar. Akbar. Not Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allah is Akbar. Allah Ta'ala is Akbar. And the meaning of Akbar here is more justly proud, more majestic, greater than anything. Akbar min kulli shay. Greater, more majestic, more justly proud than anything. And he is alone in his kibriya. He is alone in his majesty and his right to be proud. Just pride. He is alone with these attributes, and no one has the right to be arrogant. No one has the right to be proud. As the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam has informed us that being proud for the people who have no right to be proud, as it is Allah Ta'ala's lone right to be justly proud. If people have pride, then this is something that prevents them from entering Jannah. As he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, من كان في قلبه مثقال ذرة من كبر لا يدخل الجنة. Whoever has the smallest amount of kibr, like akbar, kibr, arrogance, pride, haughtiness. And of course, from our angle, it's without right. For Allah Ta'ala to have kibriya, pride, it is in a just way and a majestic way. And He Ta'ala alone deserves that description. For us to have pride, we will not enter paradise. We will be prevented from entering paradise by having the smallest amount of kibr in our hearts. When the companions asked, what is this kibr? What is this pride that will prevent us from paradise? Or they said, they had an idea, they said, but we like to have nice clothes and nice shoes. The Prophet ﷺ responded by clarifying the intended meaning, saying, Inna Allah jamilun yuhibbul jamal. Allah Ta'ala is beautiful, all beautiful in every great aspect of the word. And He loves things of beauty. Al-kibru batarul haqq wa ghamt al-nas. Pride that will be in your heart that prevents you from going to paradise is rejecting the truth and looking down on people. So no one has the right to have kibr in this life. Allah Ta'ala alone is described with kibriya, majestic pride that is just and due to Him alone, majesty and honor that He alone deserves. And when you say Allahu Akbar, this is part of the meaning of what you are saying. I'd like to take a moment to share with you some of the words of one of the best of our scholars of this time or of recent times. He was the Shaykh, the Usuli, the great Imam Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen. May Allah Ta'ala have mercy on him. And he wrote a book or he gave an explanation to a fiqh book in Hanbali fiqh, and he called it al-Sharh al-Mumti'. Al-Sharh al-Mumti'. It is the explanation of the book called Zad al-Mustaqni' in, again, Hanbali fiqh. And in this book, in the third volume of this book, I'm going to read to you one paragraph from this book about the meaning of Allahu Akbar when you say it in your salat. From page number 22 of the third volume of Al-Sharh al-Mumti', again by Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin. He says, after posing the question, ثم نرجع إلى معنى هذه الكلمة الله أكبر. Let's return back to the word, the meaning of this word, Allahu Akbar. ما معناها? What is the meaning of it? وما مناسبة الابتداء بها? And what is the significance of beginning our salat with this phrase? Al-Jawab, the answer, معناها, its meaning, أن الله تعالى أكبر من كل شيء في ذاته وأسمائه وصفاته. That Allah Ta'ala is greater, more majestic and more deservingly proud, more justly and deservingly proud than every single thing with regards to His presence, His actual that, His presence, who He is, and with regards to His names, and with regards to His attributes. وَكُلُّ مَا تَحْتَمِلُهُ هَذِهِ الْكَلِمَةُ مِنْ مَعْنَى. And every single thing that could be understood from this word, meaning Allahu Akbar, everything that enters into Allah being greater than everything else. قال الله عز وجل, as Allah Ta'ala, Allah mighty and majestic says, وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدَرِهِ وَالْأَرْضُ جَمِيعًا قَبْضَتُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. And they have not estimated Allah Ta'ala with a just estimation. They have not considered Allah Ta'ala with the true consideration that He deserves. وَالْأَرْضُ جَمِيعًا قَبْضَتُهُ. And He will have the entire earth in His hand, in His grasp on the Day of Judgment. وَالسَّمَاوَاتُ مَطْوِيَّاتٌ بِيَمِينِهِ. And the skies, the heavens will all be rolled up in His right hand. Subhanahu. May He be exalted and glorified. And I'm going to complete the ayat since it's just a couple more words. وَتَعَالَى عَمَّا يُشْرِكُونَ. And above and beyond, glorified, exonerated, far above what they ascribe to Him. The false claims of those who say things about Allah Ta'ala, that He is deficient, that He is in need of a partner, that He is in need of something. Allah Ta'ala is far above such claims, glorified and exonerated above such claims. That verse is in Surah Az-Zumar, the 67th verse. So Allah Ta'ala describes Himself, reminding us that people have not estimated Him with a just consideration, meaning they have not understood Allah Ta'ala with the majesty, the power, the reign, the domain, the authority, the Sultan, the ultimate authority and ownership of the Day of Judgment. When we say Allahu Akbar, Allah Ta'ala is greater than everything, more majestic, more deservingly proud. As on the Day of Judgment, look at what He will do. He will have the entire earth and everything in it in His grasp, and He will roll up the heavens in His right hand. Subhanallah. May He be exalted and glorified. وَقَالَ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, may Allah have mercy on him, he goes on to say that Allah the Mighty and Majestic says, يَوْمَ نَطْوِي السَّمَاءَ كَطَيِّ السِّجِلِ لِلْكُتُبِ. The day that we shall roll up the skies as scrolls for books are rolled up. كما بدأنا أول خلق نعيده. As we began the creation, we will bring it back. وعدا علينا. This is a promise upon us. إنا كنا فاعلين. It is something that we shall surely do and fulfill. Verse number 104 from Surah Al-Anbiya. Our Shaykh goes on to say, وَمِنْ هَذِهِ عَظَمَتُهُ فَهُوَ أَكْبَرُ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. And from these attributes, and from this right that we have, or this right that he has, to be considered and to be worshipped with a just estimation, is that he has greatness, he has azamah. And his greatness entails that فَهُوَ أَكْبَرُ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. He is greater, more majestic than everything. وَقَالَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى. And Allah, the Most High, has said, وَلَهُ الْكِبْرِيَاءُ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And he is the owner of majesty, greatness, and just pride throughout the heavens and the earth. وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. And he is the Aziz. The Aziz, the one who has izzah, the one who has honor. Wal-Hakim, and the one who has wisdom and rule and authority. This is the 37th verse of Surah Al-Jathiyah. فَكُلُّ مَعْنَى لِهَذِهِ الْكَلِمَةِ مِنْ مَعَانِي الْكِبْرِيَاءِ. Our Shaykh says, so every single meaning that is associated with this word, that is connected to this word of majesty and greatness, فَهُوَ ثَابِتٌ لِلَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. And it is something that we affirm, something that is affirmed and established for Allah, the Mighty and Majestic. Those are the words of our great Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen. May Allah Ta'ala have mercy on him. And I'd like to add to these words just before we finish one hadith to talk about, that talks about the honor that Allah Ta'ala has and the greatness that he has, and that it is his own right and his sole right that no one shares with him in it. Al-Izzu izaruhu. The Prophet ﷺ described Allah saying that honor, al-Izz, is his izar. It is his garment. And Allah Ta'ala has sent his messenger to tell us this. And if you say, how is al-Izz izaruhu? How is honor his garment? Does that mean we have to believe that Allah Ta'ala is similar to a human being with clothes? We say no. Rather, the madhab of the Salaf is to affirm the speech of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam as he said it with the meaning he intended. When it comes to Allah Ta'ala, we say he is not similar to any of his creation. Honor is his garb, is his robe. وَالْكِبْرِيَاءُ رِدَاؤُهُ. And kibriya, majesty and honor, is his robe or his garment. And then Allah Ta'ala says, فَمَنْ يُنَازِعُنِي عَذَّبْتُهُ. Whoever competes with me, meaning in these two attributes, majesty and honor, عَذَّبْتُهُ, I punish him. Whoever competes with me in these things, I punish him. This is a hadith Qudsi, obviously, a hadith where the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, may Allah raise his rank and grant him peace, narrates from the words of Allah Ta'ala that are not from the Quran. So we see that Allah Ta'ala is the sole owner and the sole rightful one to be described with unlimited honor and absolute majesty, and no one else. And based on this, we say Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allah Ta'ala is greater, more majestic, more justly proud than anything. And this is the meaning of the beginning of our Salat. And as mentioned, or as this hadith that I mentioned about al-Izz and al-Kibriya is found in Sahih Muslim as well, for your reference. Hadith number 2620. And it was narrated by a couple of the companions, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri and Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. With that, we'll close our first reminder about the different phrases that we say in the Salat and how we should understand them, so that we say them having a good understanding of their meaning, and so that the statement of Allah Ta'ala doesn't apply to us, وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدَرِهِ, and that they have not estimated Allah with the true kind of consideration that He deserves. We ask Allah Ta'ala to make us from those who worship Him as He deserves to be worshipped, alone without partners, upon the sunnah of His Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, with hearts full of hope and fear, with hearts that are busy and full of the remembrance of Allah Ta'ala, not like those whose hearts are full of distractions, heedless and forgetful about Allah Ta'ala. We ask Allah Ta'ala to send, to raise the rank of His final messenger and to grant him peace, and Allah Ta'ala knows best.